Welcome to Afroshowbiz News on this Heritage Weekend. I trust everyone has had a fantastic break, celebrating and reflecting on their roots and ways they can epitomize this more. My name is Rapture, and as we normally do, we're about to delve into news making showbiz headlines around South Africa and beyond. In your headlines. With Heritage Month celebrations rife all over the country, we take you to Rustenburg, where the Kenda Heritage Site in the northwest was unveiled with a statue of Mahatma Gandhi. The Wits acting fraternity hosts the So Solo Theatre Festival. A photographic exhibition showcasing portrait photography from West Africa is on at the Metropolitan Museum in the concrete jungle that is New York. In commemoration of the 100th anniversary of Gandhi's return from South Africa to India, the Kenda Heritage Site near Rustenburg in the Northwest Province unveiled a memorial statue of the man famous for the words, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." The statue was created by renowned sculptor Adam Madebe, and the memorial site was designed by South African architect Nico Wessels.
From the main road between Rustenburg and Sun City, this is just another lodge. But like the elephant at the entrance, the memories and the roots have never been forgotten. This place reflects a history from the early 1800s, including those of the British, Afrikaners, Indians and Africans. Now another icon of our history is standing tall 100 years after he left South Africa.
This is a very significant day because the contribution of Mahatma Gandhi and the countless Indians who fought in the Boer War and served a humanitarian cause in the ambulance corps is being recognized today. This contribution has largely been forgotten, but today through this statue it is being remembered again.
This unveiling is part of the 100-year anniversary of the return of Gandhi from South Africa to India. This understates the service and sacrifice of Gandhi, the Indian Army and the Natal Indians in the South African Anglo-Boer War.
Wonderful occasion, great honor for India and South Africa. The message of Mahatma Gandhi was all about coexistence, non-violence and peace. There is hope in that for India, for South Africa and perhaps for the rest of the world.
The Kenda Heritage Site is also home to some of the known icons of our history.
We have, of course, unveiled a statue to Field Marshal Smuts and to Cecil John Rhodes and Kruger and Hosi Mahatla. We've done one for the women in the Boer War, and we're looking forward to the future. We're having a look to see who else we can put back in the Hall of Champions.
This year also marked the 3rd year of the Paul Kruger History Festival. The festival showcases the history and heritage of the Afrikaners and the British from time immemorial.
The area here is known as Boekenhoutsfontein, and that was the country house of President Paul Kruger of the Transvaal Republic just before the Second Boer War.
Those participating in the event believe South Africa can be even a better country and forward-moving world if South Africans embrace each other's culture. These include the teachings of our forefathers like Mandela, Gandhi and many others.
We hope that we can show people that it might have happened 100 years ago, but it's still important for us today for them to see exactly what happened and where they are coming from.
After the final gunshot, little ones hurried to pick up yet another piece of their history, which they will carry in their memories for many more years to come.
Thousands of South Africans donned their traditional attires in celebration of their cultures on Heritage Day on the 24th of September. And it featured, of course, a South African experience that brings people together and leaves many a stomach merry and fulfilled, as braai meat was the food of choice for many palates.
A showcase of culture, color blocking the order of the day. The country's ethnic regalia proudly displayed, and a spectacular recital of clan praises.
nna ke mosadi yo botse ka raga bontshwanyana ke bua polokwane ke raga molepo ke botse ke phala le mathale a mahwibidu hey wena le jaja la borwa o reng o tekesela a bopedi majaja ba re nkuba re ka mosela rena bophiladi le bo mahlako nokeng re swere sa hlago seshibo bo matume ba go shakadi ba itatswa minwana nna ke mopedi ke bua bopedi
le intombi yakwagcwanini umamiya umja umjekula usala kulandelwa
ngumadikela intombi yasemaqwathini ononi amabangula ingangalala odumba.
In its 13th year, Imbizo Shisanyama's Heritage Day celebrations attracted thousands. Music, dance and traditional food were on display.
We celebrate the Shisanyama culture, which is a ubiquitous concept in essence, and we share it in an African concept. And many patrons love the fact that it is an authentic experience, and they come here to make sure that they celebrate in true African style.
And that's the beauty of just some of South Africa's cultures. Now moving on to the next story, the word rapture can be described as a feeling of intense pleasure or joy, being transported from one place to another through ecstasy, transcendence. Well, this is the name of a new exhibition by former South African journalist for the BBC, Carolyn Dempster, at her fine art gallery in Parkview. Let's see what it's all about.
Ravi Fine Art is currently showcasing a garden exhibition in Johannesburg titled Rapture. This gallery specializes in contemporary stone sculptures from Zimbabwe. The expression of the sculptures found in one of the pieces by Peter Maguwise is what inspired the name of this exhibition.
I chose this particular sculpture as the theme for my exhibition is because I believe it is an extraordinary sculpture. It is fully three-dimensional. The expression in the sculpture is quite phenomenal.
Ravi Fine Art relocated to Parkview, where Carolyn Dempster created a calm and relaxing environment through the curation and design of the garden gallery.
A lot of thought has gone into the curating of this particular exhibition and also of this space. It is my home. It is a garden gallery. I want it to be a place where the sculptures speak, where people are very relaxed when they come to see the works, and where everything is shown to best effect in a natural space.
Simon Chirara grew up in the eastern part of Zimbabwe alongside his brother, who used to sculpt with the Nyanga rocks. He's currently showcasing 11 of his sculptures in the Rapture exhibition. His works are not thematic, as he believes that he brings out the sculptures that are hidden in the raw rocks. However, he strongly believes in highlighting the importance of women and love from African cultures.
My pieces, most of them, they are based on women. Yeah. Because I, see women as people who were looked down upon, like especially in my culture I come from. They were not like people who are recognized like in making some decisions, like very important decisions. And they work hard. Women, we get love from them, and they are the source of life. So I'd like to play around with the theme of, highlighting the importance of women in our society.
Carolyn Dempster works with over 60 sculptors from Zimbabwe that not only showcase their work in South Africa, but in other parts of the world, such as the United Kingdom and the United States of America.
I think that it is remarkable that in Zimbabwe, there are these artists producing unbelievable works of art that are actually mostly being exported to Europe, the United States and the United Kingdom. We're not seeing the best quality of this work down here in South Africa. And I think it also teaches us that there is so much that is beautiful and creative coming out of Africa. And we should learn to focus on that a little bit more and a little bit less on the bad news stories.
There is no doubt that Africa is filled with raw beauty. The Rapture exhibition will be running up until the 11th of October. So if you're looking for feng shui, then the Ravi Fine Art in Parkview, Johannesburg is where you need to be.
Stay tuned. After the ad break, we have more faces and voices of Africa who celebrate their heritage every single day through their art. Don't go away.
Catch! Boy! Sit!
Get behind Rugby World Cup 2015 on SABC.
Welcome back. Molemo Khomo is the creative and business brains behind the Ntobentle dolls. Each carefully crafted doll represents one of our beautiful and colorful South African cultures. It's been a 10-year journey for these lovely dolls, and I'm in studio today with Molemo, who will show and tell us more. Molemo, welcome to Afroshowbiz News.
Thank you so much for having
me. We
are
joined by these lovely little ladies over here. Tell us about Ntobentle.
Ntobentle was created way back in 2005 as a result of me not finding a nice-looking black doll for my daughter.
And that's the thing. A lot of them that you see in stores, they're a little bit scary,
they're
intimidating.
Very scary.
Why is that? Have you asked?
I think for me it was a sense of saying, if you're not passionate about something, you will not do it properly.
Yeah.
So for me it was all about passion, because I just see all beautiful African ladies all the time.
Yes.
So for me it was more the passion, just so saying this is us, this is who we are, this is what we look like.
And this is how beautiful we are.
And this is how beautiful we are. And hence the name Ntobentle.
Yes.
Because I just believe we really are beautiful African women.
Very, very true. And you're a mother to 2 daughters.
I'm a mother to 2
and
daughters.
So when you, conversations that you've had with your children from the time they were young, just about, their identity and celebrating their roots. I don't know if, in your family you have mixed cultures as well. But what are the kind of conversations that you've had with them to show them and tell them that actually it's not about having the weaves and whatever, you can have those, but also be proud of who you are?
I think it is how I was raised by my mom, my grandmother, and my aunts. It also is the relationship that you have with your daughters, because how we were brought up, we got hugs, we got kisses, we were told how beautiful we were told how beautiful our hair was. And these are the conversations that I have with my kids. They're 12 and 8 now, and I just need to emphasize to themselves their beauty, their cultures, because
at a time when pop culture is
I'm a rainbow
us.
nation. I always say I'm a rainbow nation because my mom is Pedi, my dad is Swati.
Okay.
My husband is Ndebele, and we've got Tsonga cultures in there as well.
Okay, so let's talk about some of these dolls here. Beautiful, beautiful. I see a Zulu attire there. I see Soto. I see Tswana. Which one are you holding over there?
One.
The Tsonga one. Brilliant. And your team, is it just you, or do you come up with the designs and just take us through that process as well?
What I did was I Googled doll manufacturers, and specifically because I wanted somebody who would create a nice black doll, a doll that would be good looking or nice looking. And I always tell people that I actually use myself as a model when I was sitting with the manufacturers to say, this is what I want, this is how it should look like. And I left books for them to read, just to go through the African cultures. And I said to them, clothing, this is how the lady will, Mopedi woman would wear, or a Zulu lady would dress up. These are occasional attires. They're not attires that we wear
every single
day. So we don't get to see it.
Yes.
And also for the kids, it was also educational for them to know, just to see
the beauty of this, and the
beauty of it and the colors. And also find that as adults, we don't know our different African attires as well.
Very true.
So it's actually quite shocking when everybody says, what is this? Like, okay, Tsonga or Zulu. They're like, oh, okay.
Yes.
So it's something that we're not used to seeing on a daily basis.
And it's a dangerous ground that we're treading on, though, because, as, generations change and we're socialized differently, if us as the adults don't necessarily know exactly what culture does what and what they represent, then how do we then teach the younger ones?
Because we need to show them these things. We need for them to be aware. We need for them to also be aware of themselves, how they look. We need to tell them constantly about their
to
hair.
them
You
that
know,
they are
need
beautiful
to get
and they are enough.
Yes, they are enough, just
Yes.
the way they are. They shouldn't.
Awesome.
You should not listen to be told any other way that you are not beautiful, that you are something else.
Awesome.
If you have the self-esteem, then you know.
Awesome. Molemo, just tell us, where can people get these?
I am online. You can order online.
Okay.
Or you can email me.
All right. So everybody can just Google and they will get your details pretty easily, actually.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Thank you so very much, Molemo. And we wish all the Ntombentle dolls and the girls who buy these, you know, the best and living their heritage every single day through lovely initiatives like this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Prominent Egyptian jewelry designer Azafami has launched an inspired African jewelry line after 2 years of being hard at work behind the scenes. Her design collections were displayed for the first time in Cairo and will later make their way to shows in New York, Miami and London, amongst other fashion hotspots. Take a look.
2 years of hard work finally paid off. Jewelry designer Azafami relied on her African beliefs, art, society and heritage for inspiration. And then 2 years later, voila, a jewelry collection with an African theme.
Firstly, people think that we only design Egyptian jewelry. I want to correct this perspective. We design jewelry inspired by culture, and what's more inspiring than Black Africa? I've been impressed with Black Africa for a long time, and I wanted to create a collection dedicated to this wonderful continent.
The unique jewelry captured the eyes of those who come to see Fami's work.
All of it is timeless. It never goes out of fashion. I know they're expensive, but they are worth it and it keeps its value, especially when you consider the amount of research and planning involved in creating a unique piece.
Just a very unique piece.
Marketing manager Fatma Gali says the collection is an opportunity for the brand to be introduced to new markets across the world.
Anyone with African roots will find themselves attracted to this collection. This also makes it possible for us to enter many markets for the first time. So this collection will help us expand in many markets abroad.
The collection, which was displayed for the first time in Cairo recently, will later be displayed in London, New York, Miami and several other locations.
A photographic exhibition showcasing 100 years of portrait photography from West Africa is on display at the esteemed Metropolitan Museum in New York. Titled In and Out of the Studio, Photographic Portraits from West Africa, the exhibition highlights a collection of pics taken between the 1870s and 1970 from Senegal to Sierra Leone.
100 years of portrait photography from West Africa is on display at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. The exhibition, titled In and Out of the Studio, Photographic Portraits from West Africa, highlights over 80 photographs that were taken between 1870s and the 1970s from Senegal to Sierra Leone. The works from popular photographers such as Seydou Keita, J.D. Okai Ojekere and Samuel Fosso are featured in the exhibition with the works of upcoming photographers.
What we wanted to show was the diversity of the production of photography in Africa, mostly by African photographers from early on, so right after the medium of photography arrived in Africa. That medium arrived to the continent around 1840, and by the 1870s you had African photographers who had reappropriated that medium and were setting shop studios all along the coast of West Africa, taking portraits of the urban elites.
Visitors to the exhibition will see group photographs from Ghana taken in 1880s and finely dressed men and women from Senegal taken in the early 1900s. Intimate family photographs and portraits of people embracing modern luxury are constant themes as the collection moves chronologically to the 1970s.
Of course, I think one of the exciting things about the exhibition is that it shows a completely different image of Africa during the colonial era compared to what is usually what people have in mind for that period. You know, a lot of the images that were circulated in the West were actually taken by European photographers who were working for the colonial powers in place, and that's the type of imagery that was disseminated. These images, which were personal, which became personal objects, were made by Africans for an African audience, featuring people from all across West Africa. and definitely show people more at ease in their everyday environment, especially for the amateur photography, which are just so playful and lively.
In and out of the studio, photographic portraits from West Africa will remain on display at the Metropolitan Museum of Art until January the 3rd, 2016.
Stay tuned. After the ad break, I have a man who celebrates his lineage and spirituality through his work. I have jazz musician Nduduzo Makatini in studio.
Your World makes it its business every evening to round up the leading local stories and international news to keep you informed all the time.
Make a date with Your World every evening for all the news headlines around the world to keep you abreast with knowledge.
Catch Your World for headlines across the world every Monday to Friday from 9 p.m, then Saturday and Sunday from 7 p.m.
Welcome back. Running over a period of the next 5 weeks, the Wits Theatre is currently running the So Solo Theatre Festival. Rather unique, it's a set of one-man shows by 16 different performers, directors and writers. With a wide range of genres, the festival also offers something for everyone from drama to comedy. Have a look.
I should be sitting here peacefully.
After a successful debut in 2014, the So Solo Festival of one-person plays kicked off for the second year. And judging by the excitement, it's evident that the performances really lived up to the expectations of the audience.
In the last 5 or 6 years, I noticed a trend towards creating solo performers. Writers were writing for one-person plays. And I love the power of a solo performer on stage. I think it is the height of to showcase one's ability to tell stories. But it's also an economic reality in this country. There is no money for big cast ensembles.
The award-winning play titled Giving Birth to My Father is written and directed by Wiseman Ncube and performed by Lihle Dlomo. The play deals with imprisonment and freedom through the eyes of a woman who is afraid to walk out of jail, with her imagination not much more after surviving 18 years there.
This is about a woman that's been in prison for many years, and it's also a story that deals with the psyche of a human being. What drives a person to actually go to the extent of creating another world for themselves? They must feel alone, and they must feel as though people aren't understanding of their circumstance. So they start creating these ideas in their minds, and it's about playing on that idea of mind games. What is truth versus reality? What is reality in essence, you know? So that's what the story is about.
The performance is pure genius and very moving as well. Definitely something worth watching.
Basically, when I wrote the show, I was tackling the mind as a tool, how powerful the mind is. You know, because if you watch this show, for example, everything that's happening on this show is happening in her mind. You know, so now abantu abaningi, when they leave, they actually think that's what really happened. And then when you come to tell them that no, that's not what happened, it's actually what she's been thinking all along. It's playing in her mind. So it's tackling the power of the mind, how powerful the mind is.
The festival offers an eclectic selection of plays, from comedy to drama, so audiences will be spoiled for choice with something for everyone.
So for an artist who brings a fresh approach to identity politics and multiculturalism, that is Nduduzo Makatini. He's the winner of the 2014 Standard Bank Young Artist of the Year Award for Jazz. He's an incredibly talented musician and composer who draws a firm connection between his music and spirituality, and he's gracing the Afroshowbiz stage today. How are you, Nduduzo?
I'm fine, thank you so much.
Awesome, pleasure to have you here. It's Heritage Weekend, and I mean, you know, tell us about your music and just how did you get drawn into the genre of jazz?
Jazz, I started playing jazz much later in my life, but since I was a kid, I was introduced to all kinds of traditional Zulu music from my tribe, from my culture. And when I finished my matric, then I went to study music. That's the first time I actually heard about jazz. So, and it took a long time for me to find the connection between what I had been doing already and the music I had been introduced to, and this new genre that I was facing.
And that's the thing, because when you study jazz, a lot of times it's the American stuff and the jazz grades from that side, your Miles Davis, your Louis Armstrongs, and yet how have you then managed to fuse that with your African lineage?
I think the link was John Coltrane for me. When I found A Love Supreme, his album, then I could see the connection between our music and the American jazz. And also, but later, you know, I got introduced to a lot of other South African music that was not in the library, for example, at school. The Blue Notes, Datu Chris McGregor, Peggy Msele, and all those people. So what I do is mostly inspired by those people. So they kind of define South African jazz for me.
Okay, and have you worked with any musicians perhaps in different genres, or for now are you just establishing yourself firmly? I know you play at the Orbit quite a bit. Any other places where people have seen you and maybe you collaborate? Because you know, nowadays that's the in thing to do, a fusion of different kinds of styles.
Yeah, I do all kinds of styles. I particularly love jazz because it allows improvisation and to stretch things just a bit beyond the boundaries, you know. So I think I love that feeling, you know, of not knowing exactly what's going to come.
And that's the best kind of music, live music. Nduduzo, I can't wait to hear you play. Please grace us with beautiful music that's going to serenade us out of this week's episode of Afroshowbiz News. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.